how's it going?
Pretty good. It looks like we have a request on one of our Japanese videos. Micah wants to know about family words. Oh.
What's wrong? That should be easy. Oh, that's right. Japanese has 2 words for each member of the family, don't they?
Yeah, I can understand why Micah is having trouble with this and wants it to be explained.
So, what are we going to do?
Well, we should definitely teach both sets of words and explain how they're used. I have an idea. Hi, I'm Justin, and this is Ohio Gozaimasu, THK Manufacturing of America's series on Japanese language and culture. Today, we have a big topic for you. It's family. So I'm going to break it into 2 videos, actually. But before we get started on the vocabulary, there are some cultural topics that I need to talk about. The first is that Japanese society tends to place greater emphasis on age and seniority than English-speaking countries do. So we'll find that within a family, there are distinct words for an older brother and a younger brother, and an older sister and a younger sister. The second is more complicated. As Alexis said, there are 2 words for each member of your family. This is kind of like mother and mom, father and dad in English, but it's a little bit more complicated than just being formal and casual. It's more about showing respect for other people and being humble when you talk about yourself and your own family. In this video, we'll always teach the respectful terms first. Basically, these are the words that you'll use to talk about other people's family members, and you always want to use them when you talk about someone else's family. I'll put them up on the screen as a reference, but we'll do pronunciation practice a little bit later on. You'll notice some patterns when we come to these respectful words. Most of them begin with o, and they end with san. You may know that in Japanese, san is oftentimes attached to somebody's name, and it means something like Mr. or Ms. These respectful expressions are the most common, and you should definitely learn them first. You can even use the respectful expressions to talk about your own family in certain casual situations. However, in certain formal, polite situations, you should use a list of humble words to talk about your own family. A lot of the humble words and the respectful words are very similar, so this makes it easier to remember, but some of them are very different. Let's recap. When you talk to someone else about their family members, you should always use the respectful terms in column 1. When you talk to someone else about your own family members, you should use the humble words in column 2. Another way to think about this is by considering that in English, we oftentimes will use words like my or your, my mother or your mother, when we talk about family members. In Japanese, they don't need to use the words that correspond to my or your because it's clear from the word that you use whose family you're talking about. For example, if I say okasan, you know I'm talking about your mom. If I say haha, you know I'm talking about my own mom. So what about when Japanese people talk to their own family members? Well, if they are talking to someone who is in their own family, but older than them, their parents or their older siblings, they'll use the respectful terms from column 1. If they're talking to someone who's younger than they are, they'll usually just address them by their given name. The most important point is that if you're going to learn one set of words, please learn the respectful words first. It's not the end of the world if you call your own mom okasan. Finally, let's get some practice and go to the word warp. Please repeat after the native speakers and practice the vocabulary. These are the respectful terms used mostly for other people's family members.
お父さん、お母さん、お姉さん、お兄さん、弟さん、妹さん。
Here are the words, but in the humble way that you would use to refer to your own family members.
父、 母、姉、兄、弟、妹。
Let's compare the two lists. Father and mother are very different. Older brother and older sister are similar, and the only difference for younger brother and younger sister is that the respectful version includes san. We're going to do one more word warp, with both the expressions one after the other. This time, we will associate the humble words with the English my and the polite words with your, but keep in mind that that's not the only meaning that these words might have. Repeat after the native speakers.
お父さん、
父、
お母さん、
母、
お兄さん、
兄、
お姉さん、
姉、
弟さん、
弟、
妹さん、
妹。
Let's review these terms visually using a family tree. As an exercise for yourself, why don't you try copying down a family tree like we have here? Then write the respectful Japanese word above the English and the humble Japanese word under the English. The native speakers will read the terms one more time.
お父さん、
父、
お母さん、
母、
お兄さん、
兄、
お姉さん、
姉、
弟さん、
弟、
妹さん。
妹。
So let's try a practical example.
Right. So if I wanted to introduce my sister Audrey, hi guys,
Hi, Audrey.
I would say imoto.
Right, and I would refer to her as imoto-san. The san on the end indicates that I'm talking about someone else's family and makes it more respectful. Now, if I were talking to Audrey about you, Alexis, I would use the word one-san, which means older sister, in a respectful context.
And I would call her Ane.
Yes, that's right. Now, if you were a Japanese family at home, you would probably address her as one-san, rather than her giving name.
Are you going to start calling me One-san at home?
I don't think so.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. All right, let's get some practice. So, Alexis, please introduce Audrey to me using the humble word for younger sister and des, which means this is.
Okay. Imoto desu.
はい。妹さんですね。わかりました。
Ane desu.
はい。お姉さんですね。わかりました。Great job, guys. It's complicated, and it gets even more confusing when you look at how Japanese people actually use these terms. There's no clear distinction between formal and informal settings. And if you spend a lot of time with Japanese families, or you watch a lot of Japanese TV, movies, or anime, you may notice that Japanese people don't always follow these prescriptive rules about respectful and humble uses of the words. Of course, little kids in Japan grow up mostly interacting with their own families and close friends. So, if you're a Japanese kid, you call your own mom Oka-san. If you have a young friend who comes to your house, they will address your mom as Oka-san too. So it's perfectly okay for you to call your mom Oka-san when you're talking to your friends. So this is the natural and relaxed way to speak Japanese casually. Even adults in Japanese society will use the words oto-san and oka-san to refer to their parents when they're speaking to their friends. And most Japanese people don't master using the humble words until they are adults and they're at work talking to people who are not their friends. Of course, we need to keep in mind that there are also regional variations in these family terms and other families that use words like mama and papa. I know that this is complicated, but I hope that it made sense. If you have any more questions about what we talked about today, please put them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, push the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. We'll be back next month with the second part of our family video, so please look forward to that.